Hello everyone, today we are going to see the demo for RackWare RMM capabilities to do the auto provisioning to DigitalOcean cloud. The very first step would be to deploy the RackWare software onto the target environment where we want to migrate the server's production workload onto the target site. So very first step would be to deploy a plain vanilla CentOS 7 image from DigitalOcean cloud and use that instance to deploy the RackWare software. So we have a very nice documentation written for the installation steps. So we will share it with you, the end user, and the end user can follow the documentation to deploy the RackWare software. The next step is to take the IP address of the RackWare server and key it into the browser. Once you key it in the browser, you will landed onto the login page of a RackWare server. So during the installation documentation, you configure the credentials needed for the GUI login, which you can key in here. And once you log in with your credentials, you will land onto the RackWare dashboard page. So to go start with the auto provisioning feature for DigitalOcean Cloud, the very first step we need to do is go to the configuration tab and add the cloud user, which will be the user to call the APIs from RackWare software to DigitalOcean cloud. And to adding the user, we just need the token from the DigitalOcean account that user has got, on which user wants to migrate the target server. So very first step would be to select the provider. In my case, it is DigitalOcean. So I'll select DigitalOcean cloud as a target provider. The name would be just a name reference for the user that you wants to migrate from the production environment to the DigitalOcean cloud. It is just a reference for end user to recognize various users if multiple users are using the RackWare software to migrate to DigitalOcean. I'll key in the token that I got and just click on the add. It will actually go back and do the API call to the DigitalOcean cloud and make sure that the token provided by the end user is correct. Once the cloud user is added, next step is just to create a wave. Okay, so currently I freshly deployed the RackWare server, so it doesn't have any waves. What wave is basically is nothing but group of servers that are put in together as a part of a single application and migrated together so that application is consistent after it got migrated to the target using RackWare software. So creation of wave is very simple. If you click on the plus button, it will take you through the wizard where you need to just specify few details like name of the wave. Usually what end user do is they put in the name of the application which they want to migrate as a part of a wave through multiple servers within the single wave. Then follow through the wizard and specify the details needed. In my case, I want to do auto provision to the DigitalOcean cloud. So I'll select the target type is auto provision. Once I select the target cloud auto provision, it will ask me the cloud user that we want to use to do the API calls. So I'll select the user we just added some time ago as a RackWare user. Then I'll decide the region of the DigitalOcean cloud where I would like to put my target servers, and then the VPC network name that I want to migrate to. Okay, so once all this configuration is done, I'll go through the next steps. The next step is just to do the addition of the servers into the RackWare wave, which needs to be migrated from the production environment. So I'll click on the add host. In my case, my server is sitting basically in my DMZ environment, which I would like to migrate to DigitalOcean cloud. So before adding the server here, end user need to make sure that the prerequisites are made on the production server. The very basic prerequisite would be to enable the passwordless SSH to the source server from the RackWare server. So I already made sure that I did a passwordless SSH to the source server I want to migrate from the RackWare server. Next step is just to do the configuration of a friendly name for a particular server to be migrated. So this friendly name is nothing but a recognition for the end user for the type of the server they want to migrate. It could be a web server, a DB server, or any other type of servers which will be a part of a single application. The next step is to configure the port. By default, if port is not specified, by default port 22 will be used. A customer is very well allowed to use the custom port if they do not want to use the port 22. The next step would be to the username that they want to connect to the source on that IP address. This is the configuration on the source side. Once the source configuration is done, on the target side, user need to specify the friendly name that they want to see for a particular server onto the DigitalOcean cloud at the end of the migration. So for my case, I'm just using source as a RackWare source and target as a RackWare target for the migration. Next would be to select the sync option. So there are various sync options available based on the customer use cases. The meaning of each and every option here is provided in our documentation. Customer can very well refer to it and choose those options as per their required window. It will just give me the confirmation on what I want as a part of the server migration, and then I'll just hit on the create web, which will validate the inputs I gave, and then once the wave is created successfully, it will land me onto the wave detail page. So on this page, there are various other options like parallel count. For example, if I have 10 servers in my wave as a part of a single application, but I want to migrate 5 in parallel. So you can very well select from the drop down. If you select no limit option, that means all the servers that are part of a single wave will be kicked off together for the migration. So this is very basic configuration that needs to be done for the migration. Once this is complete, uh, and if you click on the play button, it will start migrating the production server to the DigitalOcean cloud. Right now, if you look at this, so I have only RackWare software server, which I earlier shared, is deployed in my target environment. Once I click on display button, it will start migrating this server by going through various stages of the synchronization operation. So if you look at the status is in progress, and it will start showing you the stepwise operation of a migration happening through this particular wave migration through the RackWare software. So the very first step would be to examine the source server. If you look at this, it is trying to examine the source server, in which it will collect the information regarding CPU, RAM, and storage configuration, as well as network configuration of the source. And then after examination, it will start auto provisioning the target server into the DigitalOcean cloud, and to check whether it is migrating. So it will show you if all the configuration that you did on the RackWare software GUI, it will start creating the server for you automatically into the target environment. Okay, so this is a real-time migration happening, so it's gonna take its own time. So we will let it run till the end of the operation is complete, and if there are any more questions, we'll take those. So if you look at the screen right now, the release operation has also been completed, and the entire migration is complete. So if you look at these, all the steps are successful and the status of the operation is also successful. After the initial migration, if end user wants to run another delta sync onto the same server, the next step is very simple. They can just click on the play button and start it, so that it will start running the delta sync on the partitions that it has got on the source. Whatever delta that gets accumulated after the first migration is done will be shipped to the target server, which we just auto provision. So if you look at this, you can very well go and access the target server with with data that you want to validate for the application. So it is up and running right now on the target server.